us to pay for what we need from other countries. They help feed our families and send our children to school.
Good day and welcome to Dominica.
The tourist dollar builds schools and roads and pays for our healthcare, welfare, and education. Tourism takes care of everyone, so it's everybody's business. So remember, our tourists are not just strangers, they are partners in our development. This ad is brought to you compliments the OAS and Discover Dominica Authority.
Action. Marigold Development Corporation alongside Kubuli, Fine Food Inc., MCCU, Heineken, Belfast Estate, and US present I Love Marigold concert for this Mayfair and Marigold Reunion Volume 2. Sunday, April 30th at the Fisheries Complex from 10 p.m. and go straight into Juve. There will be live entertainment from Soca Sensation straight out at TNT. Show in Winchester. The Caribbean #1 party band, the Swing Stars, the Pioneers of Bouillon Music, the Big Bad WCK, the People's Band, the Bouillon Band, the Powder Specialists, Calypsonians Line, Road Match King, King Side, Calypso Monarch, your very own King Caressa, DJ Honor, alongside Selector Elman, we'll be scratching and mixing all the hottest tunes. It's powered by the biggest and cleanest sound, Club DVD. The price is only $40. Yes, you heard right. All these for only $40. So calling on my party people from Philip Soufrier to Capuchin, from Bossy to Kashaku, Marigold is the line. Sunday, April 30th for the I Love Marigold concert at the Fisheries Complex. It's all about Mayfair and Marigold Reunion Volume 2. So, me say,
This is the talk on the block. A few issues to explore this afternoon, as usual. But it appears that US-based controversial blogger Kenneth Ridjock is standing by his story, which has earned him a threat of legal action in Dominica. Of course, yesterday afternoon, some letters were delivered to Q95 and Thompson Fontaine and myself, Matt Peltier, through the lawyers as well. I've just confirmed that Mr. Kenneth Ridjock has received his letter through the mail. And still at this moment, Mr. Kenneth Ridjock is not backing down. Mr. Kenneth Ridjock is on the line with me from Miami, where he resides. Mr. Kenneth Ridjock, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Matt. How are you?
Good. Of course, we heard the news that you may have received a mail through, of course, the internet, if you will, that you will be sued for the allegations that you made against the government.
Well, I made the allegations against the individuals. I was given 3 hours in which to either retract my articles or to pay the penalty. And those individuals that are committing those acts, they're not doing it as officials of the Commonwealth of Dominica. They're doing it out of criminal intent. Those people may hold the office, but the actions that they are taking are not the actions of the people of Dominica. They are the actions of career criminals. And let the lawsuit begin. I intend to get counsel and defend it. And I also intend to take a copy of that lawsuit and give it to the United Nations Security Council, because what's happening in Dominica, especially after yesterday's regulation saying that public assembly was no longer permitted, is the country is going from democracy to dictatorship. And that represents a clear and present danger to the rest of the Western Hemisphere.
I was
We
also.
do not need, we don't need to have it. We don't need another Grenada in the history books of the East Caribbean, please.
So you're saying that you're taking this further?
Yes, sir. I'm going to take the complaint to the United Nations and give it to the American ambassador and explain that Dominica has the potential to become a danger to the peace and security of the hemisphere, and as such, I'm going to call for a United Nations investigation of what is now a virtual dictatorship.
There's also a report as well that you plan to take this to Reporters Without Borders?
That's correct, and to the Organization of American States. You know that there's no real press freedom in Dominica now because of the regime. Therefore, the world needs to know that.
You know, I'll ask you the same question I asked yesterday. Mr. Rijok, what is the objective? Why is Dominica of interest to you at this time?
My interest is purely democratic. I do not like to see it when any country in the Western Hemisphere ceases to become a democracy. When you have a country where votes can be purchased, it becomes, frankly, a regime which will rise and fall on the pockets full of cash of those people who want to corrupt the entire government system. I'd like to see democracy back there, and I'd like to see Dominica not have such a bad rap for being the place to go if you need to buy a passport.
So my understanding of this, Mr. Rijok, is this you're gonna take this further than it is right now.
Well, it has to be because it hasn't picked up the attention of the major media either in the UK or in North America. The world needs to know that democracy in Dominica is going to hell in a handbasket.
In the suit, from what I read thus far, they try to say that you're a blogger and you're not a journalist.
Well, they should realize that I live in the United States, and here in the state of Florida where I reside, the court decisions are uniform that anybody who's a blogger and serves the public interest happens to be a journalist, and he's entitled to all the privileges thereon.
Well, what is the reaction thus far from all this attention to you, Mr. Rijok?
I don't seek any attention. I'm just looking to put out the fire in Roseau. I'm only looking to be an arbiter of change. I have no stake in the game. I have no political affiliations there. I'm not receiving any blood money from any of the parties. I note that the party in power has hired at government expense a company in the United States, which is basically a spin doctor, which has been cranking out all sorts of garbage, putting it out on the media to say how great things are in Dominica and how any of our charges have no legal merit. Well, you can't hide the truth forever, Mr. Scarrett.
Are you surprised, Mr. Rijok, that they've brought us in this lawsuit against you?
No, I'm not surprised at all. What I am really surprised about is that there are international forces afoot in Dominica who are hiding away from the public eye, and I fear that whatever they're engaged in happens to be a problem. Did you know, for example, that the embassy of the People's Republic of China has no formal address and it operates under a post office box? Although I have an idea as to where it's located, I would sure like to see why there's no picture of the embassy on its website. And I'd like to know how many people work there, considering that there right now are no Chinese visitors to Dominica, and I can't find a record of a single Dominican visitor to China at this time. What are they doing with this huge embassy and all of these staff members? Is this an intelligence agency that's spying on Dominica as well as spying on the United States? I'd like to know that.
Are you saying that a lot more questions needs to be asked about these Chinese embassy?
Yes, sir. I'm wondering why they are hidden. Why are they underneath some degree of secrecy? And why on earth would they even require anything more than a small consulate in a country with which they have no business? They have no trade, no tourism. There is really no need for visa service. There's no need for passports or tourists who get in trouble, who become ill. The whole thing to me sounds extremely suspicious, and I think it deserves an international investigation.
Mr. Rijok, thank you very much. Are we expecting another blog later today?
Yes, sir, you absolutely will. Let's talk about China on that blog, and let's get it all out there so everybody can see it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. More questions from Kenneth Rijok about Dominica. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Of course, he said he's taking this report and threats of legal suit to the UN and the OAS and Reporters Without Borders. This will definitely get international attention. Mr. Tony Astafan, you see what you caused? Don't blame anybody else, huh? You thought you were just suing Matt Peltier. The story is getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the minute. Let's take a phone call. Hello.
Hey, Mr. Peltier, what's up, my brother?
How you doing, sir? Because Mr. Rijok is not backing down.
Not at all. And he have more. I heard one Kimberly read this morning, but it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we have been saying all along. And disobedient children must get a blow. The more tribulation is upon the back, the more stubborn they become. I do not want to use the foolish word.
Somebody warned Mr. Astafan, huh?
Yes, but Matt, could he have an ambivalent relationship with this administration? You know, he have been violated in the worst way. I mean, he take McIntyre Poodle and run to Miami. Something is wrong. But Matt, let me forget about that. Matt, I am just saying, Matt, what will it take to bring to the attention of Dominicans something is wrong on a global scale, on a regional scale, particularly involving our passports, Matt, and even our diplomatic passports. So if Kenneth Rijok, which is an outsider, so to speak, can be making all these disclosures, and Kelly the Ghost Williams on his program, what the more hit is for black man to join white man, to fight against black man. But do you know there were thousands of white people there with Dr. Martin Luther King fighting against white people oppressing black people? Do you know that, Matt?
Yes, I do.
They get the dogs and the horses and the hose, they spray them with power, the fire hoses, they beat them with batons. White people helping Dr. Martin Luther King to fight against white people because of the oppression of black people. And there's another historian that usually make that same assumption, black people, they're fighting against black people. Matt, I just want to give thanks to Rijok. If there any merit to his disclosures, I want to give thanks, because those who their mouths are filled with money, Matt, will not raise a finger and take objection to what is happening, because they have gotten the piece of the pie or the crumbs of the pie. Because Roosevelt and these guys, a few ministers, maybe about 3 or 4 of them, including Roosevelt, are making them millions, and they're giving the crumbs to some people in Dominica who are very influential, of high social standing, and they will not lift a finger to blow the whistle and say, yo, enough is enough. So we want to give thanks to a white man, a blue eye, a pale man, a colonialist, an imperialist, whatever, for saying, Dominicans, wake up. Thank you, my brother. God bless.
Okay, later down in the hour, we'll be talking to the opposition United Workers' Party Public Relations Officer, Mr. Nicholas George, calling for an emergency session of Parliament. That's later in the hour. Stick around, Dominica. This is the Talk on the Block. Told you yesterday is the hottest sure in the Eastern Caribbean, for sure. 1-9-10, and that is what a lot of people just can't understand or can't swallow. Hello, talk to me.
Good afternoon to you and the listening.
Yes.
Mr. Rijok, thank you very much for answering the 911 call that I make for that, so that you could help us Dominicans out of that soup we are in. And right now, the people who are fighting the oppositions in Dominica are not white people. They are black people like ourselves. So what the crap is that false Rasta talking about? Mr. Rijok, go to the extreme for us, please. Thank you very much. And everybody who played one part or the other for us to get to that stage of today, thank you very much for playing the part. That was the most intelligent thing that you'll have ever done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Of course, we heard this report from the blog from Mr. Rijok this morning. Very interesting. Read by Kimberly Benjamin. Let's listen again.
The right of peaceable assembly may be one of the cherished rights of the English-speaking countries, but this week it was abolished in a country that must now be regarded as a former democracy, now rapidly becoming a dictatorship. The population of the Commonwealth of Dominica has now, by decree, lost the right to assemble and discuss their grievances. On Monday, April 24, 2017, the Minister of Justice, Immigration and National Security enacted a regulation that enables him to ban any public meeting, assembly, or demonstration. He then used this new and absolute power to forbid an assembly to be conducted by opposition parties. Democracy fades out in Dominica and dictatorship becomes the order of the day. If you have been reading any of the articles that I have been posting of late, you have seen the deterioration of the rule of law in Dominica and the rise of autocratic rule. This one act, which has codified the acts of the local government in 2017, is the beginning of the end for democracy in Dominica. For foreign investors, eco-tourists, yachtsmen, and other travelers, the risk level have flown off the chart, given the rampant corruption, vote buying, sale of passports to all comers, and general fear and loathing. For international bankers, country risk has risen so high as to make it a jurisdiction to avoid leaving the population high and dry while the corrupt national leadership breaks in their lucre. Welcome to Dominica. For risk management purposes, it is the new Haiti, a kleptocracy.
Let's move on. 1:22 is the afternoon time. And of course, we just heard that the opposition United Workers Party, heard that on the 1 o'clock update, is planning an emergency meeting of Parliament to describe CBI and describes CBI consultation as a sham yesterday. With us, the Public Relations Officer, Mr. Nicholas George. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Matt, and good afternoon to your listeners.
You said a sham?
It is a sham.
Okay, well, tell us why you think it was a sham.
I want to clarify something off the bat, that the United Workers' Party did not boycott the consultation. The parliamentarians were officially invited and individually and severally decided after proper consultation among themselves.
So it was not a planned boycott?
It wasn't a boycott. It wasn't a boycott.
It appears that everybody stayed away.
Well, we had to stay away for good reasons. And as it turned out, within our ranks in the United Workers' Party are eminently qualified economists and people with management skills. Dr. Thompson Fountain, Joshua Francis, Honorable Joseph Isaac, and Senator Claudia Sanford. So if you want to have a meaningful consultation, what is so wrong to invite Dr. Fountain and Honorable Joseph Isaac to be part of the panel, where you will have a balanced panel? But you are inviting the opposition to sit in the audience.
Not officially.
And officially to sit in the audience, to listen to partisans, Labour Party partisans, addressing an issue that the United Workers' Party as the parliamentary opposition has been calling for good governance, accountability, and transparency in the system. You're now asking them to come to be sitters in a conference and not participate. This is the parliamentary opposition. We've asked for these things, these debates, long time. We've asked these questions in Parliament. And we've asked these and they've not answered us, and the government has deceived us to the point where we've asked for the resignation, and we maintain that the Prime Minister must resign and his cabinet for deceitfully managing the CBI. So if you want a consultation to regularize, to change, to improve the policy, and you want it at that level, then you need participation, not attendance. So it wasn't a boycott. We think it was an insult.
A sham.
A sham. That's what we classify.
All right, so you're now calling a what? For an emergency session of Parliament to debate?
And we believe that that is the place it must go. If you want the opposition to be part of the process, we've been asking for accountability. In the last budget address, debate, the government on the estimates projected collection of $99 million. And the Prime Minister's address, he said, no, this is 280 million was collected. A difference, 289, I believe it was. A difference of 180 million. Everybody who listened to the budget debate should remember Honorable Lennox Linton asking, well, where is the excess? Where is it? Can the minister explain? But he doesn't explain. So it is not on that consultation that you would get the contribution of the opposition. The opposition has been consistent in asking for reform, for transparency, for accountability. We've asked questions. On the 19th of October, the opposition asked a question: how many diplomatic passports have been issued? Have any of them been revoked? If so, from whom and when? And what was the answer from the Minister of Foreign Affairs? Essentially, it's not your business. So, if you want to have a logical debate, let's have one in Parliament. So the opposition had not boycotted. The opposition felt that the government was not serious, and the government had insulted the opposition, and it make it worse. It's the quality of experts that we have on the opposition side who can contribute to that which was being proffered yesterday.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll take a few of your phone calls. Should the opposition have stayed away? Should they have stayed away yesterday? And of course now they're referring that they want an emergency session of Parliament to debate CBI. They say that's the way to go. We'll take your phone calls when we come back after this.
Attention tout le monde, Maquedette là. Avril 29-2017, destination la Dominique pour le premier festival Ragakoyon.
She said, Mr. Ice Cream Man.
Au-delà Dominique, pays au paradis, Coltonti, orchestre fanatique et Atonia. Avec beaucoup d'amour, paille, Delo Montini.
Madame, elle est chapée, patron,
Guadalama Sivesque Zopare Admiralty Ke Akazno Monsieur Mesdames Aguadada Hot Jamaïque Dancehall extraordinaire Macadayman Et prince de reggae pour augmenter la mentalité Luciano Ou Jaconet le premier festival Ragakoyon Avril 29, Ragakoyol la Dominique. Pour plus d'informations, visitez facebook.com Ragakoyol. Pas Manchester.
The sweet sounds of jazz and Creole. Dominica is calling. Unwind and chill May 28th to June 3rd at the Evergreen, Anchorage and Fortune Hotels. Urban Garden Cafe, Hotel de Champs, Atlantic View and Riverstone Bar and Grill. Then on to Fort Shirley on June 4th for a day of true nature island vibes. Presented by the Government of Dominica with headline partner Discover Dominica Authority. Visit dominicafestivals.com for more information. May 28th through June 4th, 2017. Dominica's Jazz and Creole, a smooth island vibe.
has to know further. We are bringing convenience to you. Introducing the new Country Style Wholesale and Distribution Center. Agents for Fine Foods Inc. The same company which brings you Ting, Stone's Ginger Wine, Fernandez Black Label, and White Oak Rum. Call Melissa at 613-1789. Marigat, Wesley, Woodford Hill, the Kalinago territory. We are here. Country Style Wholesale and Distribution Center. Quality products, best prices, total convenience. Cut the hassle and call 613-1789.
Okay, thank you very much. And of course, on the line with me at this time, 1:30, the afternoon time, talking block is the leader of the opposition, of course, joining the public relations officer in the House. Here's a question that keeps recurring since morning. Why was the opposition leader not present? Of course, we've heard that it was a sham. And don't you think that yesterday would have been a better opportunity for the opposition to ask its question? Because you always complain about the Speaker of the House. If you were there in of course, consultation yesterday, that would not have happened. Mr. Lennox Linton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Matt Peltier.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon to the people of Concord and Marigot. Good afternoon to the people of Dominica, the Patriots at home and abroad. I think you know, Matt, tonight in Marigot we
have a special meeting there.
Panel discussion on the development options facing Marigot and the role of the diaspora partners in building a sustainable, prosperous community. That'll be from 5:30. Matt, you going to come up to join us?
Well, that may be a consideration.
Well, you don't only have to attend funerals in the constituency meeting of living people.
Thanks for the invitation, sir.
Oh, that'd be nice, yes. Matt, a consultation, a national consultation on something as important as the Citizenship by Investment program, which the government is relying now for funding upwards of 40% of the annual budget, is a very serious matter. You cannot send an invitation that gets to the office of the United Workers' Party in the morning of Friday, the 21st of April, for a 9 o'clock meeting on Monday morning. No agenda, no white paper, no background information on the precise theme that you have chosen for the conference, and expect to be taken seriously. That is not how professional consultations are done or are organized. So anybody who sends me that kind of invitation in those kinds of circumstances, I believe that they try to make a mockery of me because they don't intend me to participate seriously in this matter. And let me tell you why. Back in 2016, I asked the financial secretary to provide me, in my capacity as chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, with certain information on the operations and the accounts of the Citizenship by Investment Unit. She refused. I've asked questions to the Parliament, about CBI that I'm still waiting for answers for. As recently as March 15th, I submitted questions to the Parliament, which await an answer, hopefully when the Parliament next convenes. Right? We want to know, for example, the status of the government CBI account at the Royal Bank of Canada, in which it held a balance of 130.2 million EC dollars at the close of the financial year 2015-2016. Did you hear anything about that yesterday at the consultation? If the account is no longer in operation, why was it closed? When was it closed? What was the balance on the date of closure? And where have those funds been banked since? What is the status of the government CBI account at the National Bank of Dominica, which it held a balance of 16.6 million EC dollars at the close of the financial year 2015-2016? The CBI revenues cleared into the government bank account into Dominica from July 2016 to March 2017, broken down by month, is also a matter that we have extreme interest in from the standpoint of assessing where the CBI is now and what is the real potential of the CBI for continuing to generate development financing at a certain level per annum, because the returns have been up and down. The best year we have had, according to the records of the government, appears to be 2015-2016, when it brought in a total of $279 million. The year before that, Matt, was $23 million. So when you go from 2023 to 279, we need to know where is this revenue stream genuinely at, so we can start to plan at a certain level for certain things to happen. You don't plan for the future on $279 million a year when the year before that you only did 23 million and you're not sure what you're going to do in the following year. These are matters for serious consideration. And so it is important that those who go to consultations of that nature have information on which they can independently provide their own assessments, and they can arrive after consultations with their membership and our constituents at proper positions on remedial treatment, on how we improve this citizenship by investment program. What did we have yesterday? We had the Prime Minister. He made his opening statements, he made his closing statements. We had the Prime Minister's priest who cursed the people who were critical of the CBI. So, of course, right at the start there, you're being told, well, don't come here if you're criticism. The CBI was sent by God, and Mr. Skerrit was visionary, etc., to go out and get it. When, in fact, CBI has been in Dominica since before Skerrit. You had a number of people who are sympathetic to Mr. Skerrit and his administration on a panel chaired by Mr. Skerrit's senior advisor. Nowhere in the program is any space created, any 5-minute or 10-minute space created for the parliamentary opposition that sits in parliament with you, the government, that has asked questions about the CBI, that has made numerous suggestions on improvement in the last budget debate of 2016-2017, all of which have been ignored. And you bring them to sit down in your conference. A consultation that is effectively an event in the pageantry, I call it, of Skerrit's feel-good dictator type politics. We wanted to know, for example, the number of cases in Dominica so far in the year in which certificates of naturalization and passports have been issued without proof that the passport fees have been received into the coffers of the government CBI account. All we heard yesterday, and I saw the playback on YouTube. All we saw at the consultation was some very disingenuous statements that Dominica runs the best passport program in the world and the due diligence is above board, etc. But we heard some other things too. Listen to me carefully, man. Ali Reza Monfared was naturalized in 2009. He got a passport in September 2014. Almost a year after his partner Babak Zanjani was arrested by the Iranian authorities. And then in the early part of 2015, he gets a Dominica diplomatic passport. In November of 2015, 2016, sorry, no, 2015. 2015, November 2015, Babak Zanjani goes on trial. And in the month after that, December of 2015, Ali Reza Monfared shows up in Dominica. He has abandoned Iran, he has abandoned Malaysia, he's come to live in Dominica because he had a brush with the Iranians where he was almost picked up by them, and thank God for the Dominica diplomatic passport, he escaped capture and returned to Iran. So he came to Dominica in a hurry to be safe. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs told us earlier this year that it was since January the 20th, 2016, that they cancelled the passport, the diplomatic passport of Ali Reza Monfared, because they found at the time that he was a person of interest. He was a fugitive from justice. He was a person of interest. Person of interest, meaning to us, fugitive from justice, because Iran wanted him back in Iran to face trial. And the U.S. would have been interested in him as well. Here what happened. They revoked the diplomatic passport, but they left him with the normal Dominica passport. Here's what was disclosed yesterday in the Citizenship by Investment Conference consultation. That if somebody receives citizenship, is granted citizenship and receives a Dominica passport, but subsequent to that, it is found out that there are certain things about them that were not disclosed during the application process, which would have made them unsuitable for Dominica citizenship, then the government can revoke the citizenship. We have a classic case before us where the government found out in January, if it didn't know before, and I'm saying it knew before, but it confirms finding out in January certain things about Ali Reza Monfared that would not have been known during the due diligence phase, or they didn't find out during due diligence of the application phase. And now that they knew that then, they ought to have been cancelling his citizenship of Dominica. Ask them why they did not do that. And it is things like that, Matt, that interfere with the integrity of the program. The government is jumping all over the place, making all sorts of wild statements, all sorts of dishonest, disingenuous statements about citizenship by investment, trying to blame other people, when it is this government, through its reckless mismanagement, through its policy inactions, its policy failures and inactions, that have caused the program to be under the threat of extinction that it is today. And it is going to take sincere, honest people like the members of our team.
So you have no regret not going yesterday, Lennox Linton. We have little time.
Yesterday's consultation, I repeat, was an event in the political pageantry of Skerritt's feel-good politics, and we're not involved in that. We want serious discussion. We want serious debate. We don't expect when we go to a conference or consultation for a man of the cloth to be standing on behalf of the government to pray against us and to ask for prayers for us because we don't like this and we don't like that. And then to have the Prime Minister come and endorse the prayers. We're not involved in those sorts of attacks on the Christianity that we have professed and we have lived all along as Christian people of good conscience. And we're not in the business of trivializing important matters of state. What came out of the consultation yesterday? What happened in the consultation yesterday that you could say helps the country to move forward with ensuring the protection of the integrity of the Citizenship by Investment program as a source of funding for sustainable development projects in Dominica?
A very good question, Lennox Linton. I'm going to take you out on that. And of course, the public relations officer still in the house. Yesterday, I was told that it was reported that Catholic priest Monsignor Eustace Thomas prayed for those who he said opposed Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program, describing them as unpatriotic, ignorant, and prophets of doom and gloom. Father Thomas, why do you get involved in the people's business? Leave that for the politicians. But again, that's for you to decide. Let's take a phone call. Hello. Yes. Hello, you there?
Yes, madam, there. My father Thomas has been getting involved in politics since in the early 80s, very early in the 80s. I was an appetite when he was singing with his guitar, "Clear the way, let freedom come." Okay? So this is nothing new for me. If it's new for you, it's okay, but it's new for me at all. And God will judge him if what he's doing is right. You know, that's what will happen, Matt. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. In this prayer, he recognized But what he said was astute leadership of the Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, who he said had the presence of mind and discernment to go beyond. Now, if that's what you believe, then leave that to yourself, Father. Leave that to yourself. You came there to pray and pray for the people, not to get involved in partisan politics. Hello, talk to me.
Matt.
Uh-huh.
Now, years ago, right, I don't know if people remember Mr. James warning Dominicans about the danger he saw ahead as early as 2005, warning Dominicans about the danger of Roosevelt Skerrit that he foresee, okay, since in 2005. And we have seen it, But you see, when Father Thomas do what he did yesterday, it gives us confirmation that, you see, Skerrit feels he can do what he continues to do because he have all of these people behind him. They're not only church, Monsignor Thomas. That is why yesterday I said to someone, listen, the group of the most wicked people in Dominica who have either killed the country or aid and abet those that continue to kill the country were gathered at the State House yesterday. So the opposition could not go and join that.
All right, let me allow Mr. PRO to make a few comments. He's sitting there silently.
Well, man, if the callers are calling and they're making their views heard, the PRO can, in fact, sit silently. You've heard the political leader, and there are more than enough valid reasons why the opposition decided to stay away from the consultation. The opposition has made its positions very, very clear to the Dominican public. The opposition has written to the government on several occasions. It has articulated this in the party manifesto of 2014. The policy position of the party is explained there. What we are seeing now is the CBI program that is under threat, not coming from the United Workers' Party. It is coming from the actions of the government. And we have repeatedly asked that the government stops the way it is managing this thing. Look, for instance, presently the government may have had 40 town halls in Dominica in a short space of time. Everywhere the government has gone, it has dropped a hint of 500,000, 1 million, 40 million, to the tune of about $127 million, and all coming from the CBI. No project, no sustainable project has been designed and represented or presented to the people of Dominica as coming from under the CBI. It is an exercise to muffle the public's right to speak. It is an exercise to keep the public quiet. And as they're doing this, everything now is CBI. We are on a dangerous road with this, and they know it. Minister Austri spoke to that they've been advised by the Governor General, the Governor of the Central Bank, do not use the money in the manner of paying salaries. Make sure it is invested in sustainable projects and programs. We're not seeing that. So it is likely to fade, fall, die. When that happens, they're setting up themselves to say the United Workers' Party is responsible. Actually, it is the opposite. The United Workers' Party, by their advocacy, has uncovered or caused the Prime Minister to bring out monies that they had not yet explained. Never in the history of Dominica have you seen a government expend or promise to expend funds as lavishly as this government has done, in a manner that will not bring further growth to the economy of Dominica.
Okay, let's take another phone call. Hello.
To the Honorable in the House, the host, and to the listening public, that Judas characteristic will not work with the opposition. The opposition is a group of people that should be respected. They are intelligent, they are honorable people, while they wanted them to come into the White House yesterday in that Koshoni they had there yesterday, today they are denied of having a protest and a meeting. So what that Judas business there is all about? Come on. Don't worry, the more all you wriggle, the deeper all you think. You can only fool some people sometimes, not all the people all the time. It's just a matter of time.
Let's take another phone call. I'm really calling this afternoon for the bishop, the head of the Catholic Church, to speak out. 150, hello.
Yes, Matt, good afternoon. The PRO doing a very good job. Matt, I'm happy that the opposition leader has cleared the air, because for those who think that the opposition should have been there to sit their case, then they now come to realize that the opposition was in no way in any position, in any form or shape to give any presentation because they were not on the agenda. So just coming and sit there and taking that nonsense, digesting stupidity, I'm happy that they have refused to go there. Had they given the opportunity to set their case and they had not gone, then probably people should have taken. So for those who think that they boycotted unnecessarily, they have boycotted necessarily. Thank you, Matt, for the opportunity.
All right, now let's listen to Father Eustace Thomas and the opening prayer yesterday. Take a listen. The world is listening.
Almighty and omniscient God, the state of the world economy has affected major countries and has trickled down to our own small islands. We're grateful that you have given to our government, under the astute leadership of Honorable Dr. Skerritt, the presence of mind and discernment to go beyond the region with prudence in the pursuit of clean funding through the Citizenship by Investment program to finance development activities. This form of raising funds have already begun to address the financial burden of this administration and ease the pain of all citizens. So we ask you, dear Lord, to open the minds and hearts of those who are unpatriotic, ignorant of, and opposed to this program, and pardon those who deliberately attempt to impede it. May they be just and truthful by recognizing that this undertaking is for the common good and will only be successful through prayer. So we thank you, Lord, for bringing us here today, and we ask that you bless those who will address us, and we beseech you, enlighten the moderator and panelists who will soon take part in the panel discussion, so that they in turn will illumine those of us who have a genuine interest in our nation and bring about the conversion of those prophets of doom and gloom who are not committed to the development of our nation. We ask this through the resurrected Christ, the God-man, who has come to serve and love his people. Amen.
It's 152. You heard him. You heard Monsignor Eustace Thomas. Good afternoon to you. Hello. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Uh-huh.
You heard what he said?
Uh-huh.
He said that it was he didn't call it a consultation, he called it a panel discussion. So it was no consultation, it was a panel discussion. Why they label it a consultation, Matt? I don't understand. And how could you start a consultation with such harsh remarks unless you want to infuriate both sides? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, all my telephones, maybe Eustace Thomas, Monsignor said something. I don't know. All the telephones are just going crazy now. Hello. Hello. Are you there?
Yes, Matt, how are you?
Good.
Matt, good afternoon to your panel, Mr. Nicholas George, and Mr. Opposition Leader is still there. Matt, what you have to understand happening in Dominica, when you have such of a consultation in a country, it doesn't really mean it's one-sided, you know. I mean, people are not fooled. All of us have a level of education. When you have consultation in a country, Matt, you have to have your program prepared. Even if the entire opposition members not going to say anything within the consultation, but at least you have to officially have the leader of the opposition saying something, Matt. I mean, let us be real. Every time Skerritt does his things, his wrong things, he run into the permanent secretary to cover for him. Now he having a consultation. He's not inviting the opposition to play its part. He wants to do whatever he wants. And every time he jams, he run into the permanent secretary to come and defend him. Matt, the opposition has been doing a responsible job. They are capable. They know when to act and when not to act. So I was calling on the opposition leader and its opposition members to be always focused and never try to make them have what you like fools.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Another phone call at 1:55 in the afternoon. Talk on the block. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, for more than 2 weeks now, we have serious problems picking up Q95 on the radio, you know, Matt.
You'll have to talk to the technician, or I can tell him that for you, but I can't fix your problems at this time. Hello.
Matt, the priest spoke about astute leader. I mean, he cannot be serious. For months now, I have been referring to the Prime Minister as a blind man because he cannot be traveling through Antigua and see the modern airport they have. They're welcoming people, telling people that Antigua is open for business, and he have what you have Melvin Hall there. Now he has been trapped by a student at the Northeast Comprehensive School who asked him on his visit there recently what plans he have for the development of the Northeast. He jumped to the occasion and said the airport. All of a sudden, the airport is on the front burner. But the Prime Minister is deceitful and a blind man, having spent close to $200 million at Melvin Hall and rename it. He's present.
But let me ask you a question. Did you see the consultation or the consultants there during the time he's been talking about?
The man is dangerously lying, Matt. Matt, I'm from Wesley. I built and living in Woodford.
So you haven't seen anybody there? Any white man there?
Every day, Matt, I travel to and from Wesley. If I forget something by my home in Woodford, I go for it and I go back. I have never seen not one surveyor, not one architect, nobody pulling a tape, nobody asking a question about development. Roosevelt Scarlett comes and tells us $220 million to build an airport. But he still tells you that no design has been made yet. Matt, I built a house for a gentleman about 10 years ago. A 2-bedroom house. And the labor cost alone was $156,000. Matt, based on the design of a house, it tells you the price, whether it is high or low.
Okay.
It is dangerously misleading the people, and he's wicked because he knows better. You have no design, but you're telling us $220 million. You haven't compensated not one person yet, but you're coming up with a figure. He was trapped by the young lady at the Northeast Comprehensive, so airport becomes a challenge now, so he's trying to wiggle his way out of it. Matt, if this man had any mind of building an airport, being Prime Minister for close to 14 years now, he should be able to stand up and with fluency say how much money he had to pay for relocation, some money for compensation, how much money for the airstrip, how much money for the terminal buildings, and even the funding agencies. But he can come up with nothing. A blind man.
Thank you. Somebody says here, interesting, if that God that Father Thomas is praying to is my God, I don't think. I'd rather stay with other God. This priest, I wouldn't even say what the person describing as. Father Thomas, you have looked for it, okay? Please, be a priest and forget being a politician. You have to wrap up at this time. We have to go.
Yes, man, I want to thank you for having invited me, and I want to thank the Dominican public for listening. And be assured that the United Workers' Party's leadership will continue to educate faithfully the population of Dominica on the developmental issues that affect the country. We have the capabilities, we have the skills, we have the personnel to deliver. All we ask for of you is your confidence after we have educated you to make the right decision and ensure that the United Workers' Party forms the next government.
Thank you so much. Of course, the United Workers' Party, through a release this afternoon, is calling for emergency session of Parliament to speak on the CBI. We have to go. It's 1:59. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tomorrow morning, we have Mr. Leta from the DPSU in the house. Of course, there's a big meeting planned for Thursday. We'll talk about that and more, okay, at 8:30. I won't tell you who's coming at 8:30 tomorrow. Stick around and find out. This is the big station.
The DPSU